Forget about the girl. We've got bigger worries.
Such as?
That document, or whatever it is Edward's carrying around.
Yeah, what about
It could be our eviction notice.
it? Eviction? What do you mean?
I mean, they could be divorce papers. If I left out in the cold, you would be too, Tony. We'd both be penniless.
Divorce? Are things bad between you?
Edward has grown tired of me, and I suspect he's already picked my replacement. At first, I thought he was simply having a mild flirtation with that Dixie cream donut, Peggy Sue, but now I'm not so sure.
Ooh, Peggy Sue, she is a knockout. But you're more sophisticated than she is, more, what's the word, glamorous than she is.
20 years older than she is. That hominy-fed hussy has one thing I don't, Tony. Youth. And that's one thing Edward's money can't buy me.
Edward's money? It should be your money, too. If you had leave you sign that agreement.
But he did. I'm afraid the only way Edward's fortune could possibly become mine is if he were to drop dead before he divorced me.
Okay, hold it. Can we get some likes, please? Yeah, that was pretty good. You two can go take a break. Bring you back in a few minutes. Oh, and kill the storm. I think I'll save the rain till later in the scene. I am a writer. A playwright, to be exact. Well, it's not entirely correct. I represent a playwright. I am his alter ego, so to speak. It would probably help if I had a name. Let's see. Alter ego, alter. I know. How about Walter? Yeah? Close enough? Fine, he'll call me Walter. Here's the deal. I thought you all might find it interesting to see how I would commit a murder. It's a deal you don't get every day. The easiest way to show you is to deconstruct the crime. So that's what we're going to do. Now, pay attention. Once you find out how easy it is to knock somebody off, you might just want to try it for yourself. In your imagination, of course. When I start a new play, the first thing I try to picture is the setting. I'm partial to old mansions like this one that's dark and gloomy. A room such as this creates the perfect ambiance for a murder to happen. And I like fireplaces and French doors and use them often. When the room lights go up, glowing embers and pale moonlight provide just the right amount of low lighting to invoke a sinister atmosphere. And, as you just saw, this door works great if you wish to throw in a little thunderstorm. I've learned to keep the storm effects to a minimum, though. If they go on for too long, people start popping up in the audience and rushing out to the restrooms. That can be terribly distracting. 86 the storm! Yeah, that's better. I get the feeling you were just about to go off to the restrooms. If you can hold it till intermission, I'd be extremely grateful. Now, on with the subject. This archway, it's good, especially for sudden entrances. I usually show the base of the staircase beyond, so you get the sense the house is at least 2 stories tall. The characters can go up and down to their bedrooms, presumably. The passageway here gives access to the kitchen and other rooms downstairs. A door off up right creates the sound effects for people coming into and going out of the house. This door behind the fireplace leads to the parlor and provides yet another access for the murderer to do his thing. Or hers, should I intend to use it for this purpose. When it comes to killers, I am an equal opportunity playwright. Now, that brings us to the subject of suspects. There are quite a few possible murders in tonight's little mystery/comedy. I mean, it wouldn't be much fun trying to guess who the murderer is if there were only a couple of options to choose from. Now, let's bring in the ones you saw earlier. Tony, Allegra, come back out here. Ooh, I should probably mention, this is the living room of a powerful and ruthless millionaire, Edward Worthington III. You'd be surprised on just how much time I put into thinking up just the right name for my characters. Edward Worthington fits a strong man with a mature personality. And the third suggests money handed down through several generations. Admit it. You wouldn't have conjured up that image if I'd named him Jack Sprat, now would you? We'll meet that man later. As you'll find, many of our characters have very strong feelings towards him, including these two. This is Edward's current wife, Allegra. His second one, to be precise. Help me out.
When Edward grew tired of his first wife, Justine, he divorced her and married me. It's an old story. Middle-aged man dumps first spouse for trophy wife. I suppose I should be grateful you didn't name me Heisman.
Not a chance, my dear. Although I do go for comedy, I draw the line at low comedy, of course. Allegra suits you perfectly. It's beautiful and mysterious, like you.
Thank you. I shall do my best to live up to it.
And I'm Allegra's brother, Tony Blackwell. And yeah, I'm a playboy. And can I help it if women find me irresistible? Hey, gorgeous. How about meeting me after the show tonight? I know this quiet little place where we can have an intimate supper for two. Then later, we can go back to my place, put on some romantic music.
Okay,
And then,
Tony, hold it. You'd better not make any plans for later. If I decide to make you murder, you might just find yourself in an intimate little jail cell.
that's true. How about a rain check?
I use playboys in my shows fairly often. They invariably try to seduce one of the young women, a sweet innocent maid or two, for example. This adds suspense. Will she succumb to their charms? Or won't she? This is called subplot. At any rate, let me warn you, ma'am. If you do make plans with Tony for later, I absolve myself of all responsibility for his actions. I can control him here, but out there in the real world, why don't you two go be seated while I continue the introductions. Justine, Deborah! Allegra mentioned Justine Worthington. This is she and her daughter, Deborah, a college student. Justine, what are your feelings towards your former husband?
I despise
Remember, G-rated show.
old goat. When we married, I was young and attractive. I gave Edward a beautiful daughter, Deborah. But when I failed to provide him with a male heir that he could mold to be as cold-hearted and power-hungry as he is, he made my life a living nightmare.
Poor Mom. Father didn't mistreat me. He ignored me. When I was 6 or 7 years old, I had long curls that fell to my waist. One day, I took a pair of scissors and chopped off all my curls down to a 1-inch burr cut. But this was years before girls even considered such a style.
Your beautiful curls.
I thought if I looked more like a boy, then Father might pay more attention to me. But I don't even think he noticed.
I might have been able to forgive Edward for what he did to me, but his behavior towards our daughter, I'll resent him for that till the day I die. Or he does.
We get the picture. Be seated, ladies. Edward has one other family member, his sister, Beatrice Worthington. Beatrice is several years older than him and helped raise him, since their parents were jet setters who were constantly zipping here and there around the globe, leaving their offsprings in the hands of nursemaids and servants. Beatrice is somewhat befuddled, and it's quite possible that Edward allows her to continue to live with him, more as a sense of responsibility than any feelings of affection towards his sibling.
Did somebody call me?
Yes, Miss Worthington, come on down and say hello to all these nice people.
People? Oh my. Hello everyone. I don't go out much, so I rarely get to meet anyone except for Edward's associates, who call occasionally. And then I never seem to understand what they're talking about. Oh dear. I didn't realize Edward invited so many guests to his birthday party. I don't think we'll have nearly enough food.
Oh, don't fret, Miss Worthington. They won't be joining us for dinner.
Good. Oh, it isn't that you're not welcome.
Consider yourself lucky. Stage food is seldom what it's supposed to be. Mashed bananas for whipped potatoes, that sort of thing. Starving actors usually love dinner scenes and will eat anything that's not nailed down. But there are some food substitutions that even they shudder to think about. You did very nice, Miss Worthington. Why not go take a seat at the table?
All right.
As Beatrice mentioned, tonight's gathering is for a special occasion, Edward Worthington's birthday. His 50th, in fact. If you're wondering why Justine would be present for such an occasion, it's because she was ordered to. And because Edward signs her alimony checks, she bit the bullet and showed up. I suspect Edward wished to have her present to show Allegra just how easily he could dispose of her should she cross him one too many times. I doubt if it's crossed his mind just how easy Allegra could dispose of him in a different way. Baby brother Tony would be only too willing to help out. But I digress. Let me bring out the next party guests. Roy, Connie. Roy Phillips is Edward's business manager. He controls Edward's vast finances, which include the money he inherited, as well as millions generated yearly by Worthington Enterprises, a conglomerate of newspapers, television studios, and other media-related companies. It's a staggering responsibility, which requires a very sturdy-minded individual. It's no wonder Roy shows all the warmth and humor of a popsicle.
If Edward once left, he can hire a comedian. I've worked for over 20 years now. My employer is brilliant at running his business, but he depends on me totally to control his finances. Sometimes I do wonder if he appreciates how well I do my job.
I have no doubt that you're great at it. They say behind every great man stands a great woman. No, Connie, it's just a figure of speech.
I thought... Never mind.
The woman behind Roy, figuratively speaking, is his wife, Connie. They're as mismatched as striped pants and a plaid shirt. In fact, Connie is as giddy as Roy is somber.
Oh, I'm not that bad. He's only saying that because I got lost in a super Walmart for an entire day. It could happen to anybody.
I will add, she spent part of the time looking for her car in the parking lot.
You've done that too, right?
Roy, if you'll help Connie find the sofa, we'll continue. Our next guest to introduce is Peggy Sue, Edward's personal secretary. Peggy Sue! Peggy Sue Brumley comes from Alabama, possibly with a banjo on her knee. I say this because Peggy Sue goes by both her first and her middle name. South of the Mason-Dixie line, you'll find a lot of Peggy Sues, Peggy Lees, Peggy Anns, Peggy Jeans, Peggy Marys. You get the point.
That helps you tell all us Peggy's apart, Sugarloaf.
Well, shut my mouth. Say hi to all the folks, won't you, honey child?
Hi-yo!
I confess, I have a great affection for a Southern woman. They're charming, funny, and very bright. Although they're good at hiding the fact when they want to. Peggy Sue could easily get away with murder, because you'd never suspect a sweet young thing like her to be capable of such a grisly crime.
Well, I certainly hope not. I don't even know when Walter would suggest such a thing. Murder indeed. The very idea just gives me the willies. Besides, you'd have to dislike somebody who hates to want them dead, and I get along fine with everybody. Well, just about.
And Edward?
Edward can be awfully demanding at times and real rude when he gets in a bad mood, and he gets in bad moods a lot. I'll admit he does ruffle my feathers, but you can't murder somebody for having an unpleasant disposition, can you?
Anything's possible. How about taking a seat with the family, Peggy Sue?
Sure, sweetie.
I have one last business associate of Edward's to introduce. His lawyer, Lauren Tate. Lauren! Oh, Lauren is a lawyer. And there's no doubt the woman knows how to write up some legal papers. In fact, if she'd been around in 1776, she could have drawn up the Declaration of Independence in 15 minutes.
I accept the compliment because it happens to be true. You could say I'm in debt to writing the modern equivalent of the Declaration of Independence, to wit, the Divorce Papers. Just ask Justine Worthington. It's also possible that Allegra Worthington will be able to attest to this same fact in the near future. Both women have also learned the hard way that I write a marriage contract that is ironclad, one that protects Edward with complete success.
Thank you for the information, Lauren.
You'll receive my bill in the mail.
I am only myself to blame. After all, I created her. Now, one more set of introductions, and then we'll get this show on the road. The servants. Staff, please join us. Oh, and realize it take the staff the size of a small platoon to run a mansion as big as Worthington Manor. But for our purposes, these five will do quite nicely. Sound off, troops.
I am Hollister, the butler. I picture Worthington Manor as a huge ocean liner of which I am the captain. The other servants can tell you I run a very tight ship.
That's the truth, and I like it that way. I'm Mrs. Vickers, the housekeeper. Mr. Wellington's Manor is a showplace, and I intend to keep it that way.
I'm Ina the cook. Somebody didn't give me a last name, so it's just Ina. I do my job, keep my ears open and mouth shut. You'll be surprised what I can tell you about the people who live under this roof, but I won't.
I'm Edith.
And I'm Edwina. We're the maids.
We're kind of shy.
We'd rather not put you talking about ourselves.
Oh, I heard what you said about Mr. Tony trying to seduce maids, and that makes us nervous too.
Oh, don't worry, my dears. We'll get to that when the time comes. If I may take center stage. There you have them, the cast and characters in tonight's little mystery. Well, they include, as you recall, Edward's current wife and her playboy brother, his sister, his business manager and his wife, his secretary, his lawyer, and the household staff. They'll start to play while I summon the key figure in our story. Can we get a blackout and some mood music to provide the transition, please?
I'm seconding with the hors d'oeuvres, Miss Vickers.
Set the tray on the table, Edith, though I doubt anyone will have much of an appetite.
That would be a shame. I have prepared a wonderful dinner. Pot roast, gravy, whipped potatoes.
She could have saved herself the trouble and opened a can of Spam. Believe me, this crowd won't have their mind on the cooking.
What do you mean?
I mean, these people know Mr. Worthington. He's barely civil to them at best. You mark my words, the boss is up to something.
I hope it doesn't get unpleasant. I hate scenes.
Well, you better find a broom closet to take shelter in. I know Mr. Worthington, and I know what he's capable of.
You come on in here, Miss Beatrice. I'll let someone else in when it's ready. I'll take that. I found her in the dining room closet with a knife in one hand and a fork in the other.
I'm hungry. There are some of Ina's lovely hors d'oeuvres on the table. Why don't you have some of those, Miss Beatrice?
I believe I will. I have to get back to my Brussels sprouts. Edith, come with me. You better bring in another tray of those pork chops.
Yes, ma'am.
If you can keep her in here, I'd appreciate it.
I think she'll be content where she is.
Edith.
Now, Miss Beatrice, I need you to sit here and wait till all the other guests arrive. They'll be here shortly. I must check the parlor should anyone wish to retire there after dinner.
Retire? Is it time to go to bed?
No, Miss Beatrice, just eat your snacks.
Snacks. Oh, yes. Do you want some? You can have the ones with the black face on.
There, olives.
You eat them? I don't like them.
No, thank you, Miss Beatrice. There's some lovely mints as well. I'll be back to check on you later. That poor woman.
Oh my, what a lovely dish. I think I'll take it. But there's these pebbles inside. I don't think they'll notice if they're missing. Very nice. I think I'll keep them. Let's get rid of those nests.
I feel like a hypocrite. Besides, what do you give someone who makes more money in a day than you do in a lifetime? A doormat so that people can kneel on it to kiss his feet?
I think he owns several already. What did you get him?
I got him a necktie, as close thing I could find to a noose. What did you get him?
A gold-plated pen and pencil set. Since everything Edward touches turns to gold anyway, I thought they'd be appropriate.
Presents? Are those for me?
No, Beatrice. They're for your brother. It's Edward's birthday. Remember?
It is? Oh, that's right, it is. But I could get him a little something
They look good.
Most of them are.
Yeah, I'm not very hungry anyways. What is this? Disgusting.
What is it?
I don't know. Some sort of beetle, I think. Must have come from the French doors.
Huh. It's clouding over. The TV weatherman says there's a storm approaching.
Ah, how appropriate. Could get tempestuous inside as well as out.
Tony, Edward has been very difficult to deal with lately. Try not to do anything that might upset him.
I'll try, sister dear. But the very fact that I breathe the same air as Edward seems to upset him.
Excuse me.
More nibbles. How nice. I'll put these over here.
You're looking very pretty tonight, Edwina.
It must be the dress.
Thank you, Miss Blackwell. You're looking very nice in your tuxedo.
Edwina, I imagine Ina could come up with something for you to do in the kitchen. Why don't you find out?
Yes, ma'am.
Really, Tony, you should try charming some young heiress who could support you. I don't think Edward is going to allow me to help you out much longer.
The old skinflint. But don't worry, Allegra. I have enough charm to go around for both heiresses and pretty maids. Ah, the guests. They're starting to arrive.
Is the Avon lady here?
No, Beatrice. Eat your hors d'oeuvres.
Come in. Let me take your coats.
Thank you, Hollister.
Oh, the life of the party is here.
The Phillips.
Hey, hey, Roy, old boy.
Tony. Allegra.
Roy. Connie. Allegra! You look beautiful. I love that dress. I wish I could find one like it. I don't think they carry Armani at Walmart. You might be right, but I'll ask next time I'm there. You do that.
Where's our house?
He'll be down shortly. Make yourselves comfortable. I'll get us something to drink.
Hors d'oeuvres.
I don't mind if I do. Good evening, Miss Beatrice. May I join you?
I suppose so. Eat the ones with the black things on them.
You right, Miss Worthington?
Yes, Edith. You can begin to serve the wine.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Roy, how are things going at the office?
Under control.
Don't doubt that in the least.
How are things? Wherever it is you spend your time.
Couldn't be better, really. Could not be better.
Come in. Let me take your coat, Miss Bromley.
I'll have to get Edith to bring in some southern comfort.
Oh, thanks a bunch, Hollister. Here, be lemon. Home place.
Or maybe a pint of Jack Daniels.
Miss Bromley.
Evening, everybody.
My goodness, Peggy Sue. That's the biggest present I've ever received. What is it?
For Edward, probably a money club.
Actually, it's a year's supply of caramel corn. The clerk assured me it wouldn't get stale.
What does he care? He probably retired after he made that sale.
Oh, it didn't cost a whole heap, Allegra, honey. Besides, it's a token gift anyway. Edward already has everything his little old heart desires.
Does he now?
Roy, Tony, y'all look mighty spiffy tonight.
So do you, Peggy Sue.
Good evening.
In fact, they ought to outlaw a dress like that on a woman like you. The combination could be highly combustible.
Flatterer. Anyone?
Not a moment too soon.
Mine was lovely. Miss Phillips? Thank you, dear. Miss Beatrice, would you care for a glass?
What's in it?
Wine.
Nope, if it's not Sprite. I don't want it.
Run along, Edwina, and set up round two.
Yes, ma'am. Roy, come join us.
Yes, dear.
Peggy Sue.
Oh, well, thank you, Tony.
Ah, that must be Lauren. I
here.
Miss Taylor, please, come in.
You were right, Allegra.
It had to be she or the delivery boy from Domino's. And I know for a fact, Ina cooked a roast, gravy, whipped potatoes.
Miss Tate.
Good evening, Lauren.
Allegra, everyone.
Good grief, Lauren. Why have you brought your briefcase? It's a party. It's got to the point you've attached that thing to your wrist like a diplomatic courier.
No, Roy. Edward asked me to bring him some papers. This is for him as well. Now, if you'll excuse me, Edward asked me to meet him in his suite.
How typical of Edward. He never stops thinking of business, even on his birthday. What was that?
If someone's stomach is growling, they can eat the snacks with the black things on them.
It was thunder, and at least everyone arrived before the storm.
Yes, everyone is here. Now, everyone is here. Justine, who invited you to the party? Edward, and he didn't invite me. He ordered me to be here.
Father told me to drive down from college as well. Since he pays the tuition, I didn't have much choice. Did I? Hello, Deborah dear.
Hello, Aunt Bee.
Justine, dear, why didn't you use the front door? Did you get lost?
No, Connie. My sense of direction is fine. I didn't care to have Hollister greet me at the door like a guest. This used to be my house, and he used to be my butler. The situation would have been awkward for the both of us. I prefer to let myself in.
Come on, Mom, let's hang up our coats.
I set out games in the parlor should anyone wish to play after dinner.
Mrs. Vickers, Justine, and Deborah Worthington have just arrived, unexpectedly. I'm afraid we'll need 2 more places set at the dining table.
It's done. I knew they were coming.
Why didn't you tell me?
You didn't ask. More wine, anyone?
Why?
Miss Worthington! I mean, the other one. And
Miss Deborah, would you care for some wine?
thank you.
Thanks.
Set the tray on the table, Edith. Then help me check the dining room one last time.
Yes, Miss Vickers.
Oh, and Mrs. Worthington, you can rave if you need anything.
All right.
Edith,
Ina's a great cook, so at least we'll get a decent meal out of this fiasco. What's for dinner?
Roast beef, gravy, whipped potatoes.
That sounds good.
Deborah, darling, why don't you and your brother join us? City's bail.
All right. This will do fine. My, what a gathering. Edward's loving family and dearest friends. What a joke.
Joke? Did somebody tell a joke? I must have missed it.
Don't worry about it, Beatrice.
Okay.
Oh. Ew. I'll have to tell Mrs. Vickers to call the organ man.
Edward is coming down.
Quick, everybody, get up! We have to talk to the birthday boy! Huh? Here, Lord. Happy birthday, Edward! Cheers!
Pull it. A playwright performs all the roles when he writes the script. I needed a really good actor, so I thought I'd hop in and play Edward for you. Carry on.
Hip, hip, hooray! Oh! Hip, 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 hip.
Forget about it, Beatrice. 2 hips are enough for anybody.
So you've all managed to arrive. Good. I promise you. Sleep at night you'll all remember.
Here, Edward Sugar, you need a glass of wine.
Thank you, Peggy Sue.
Happy birthday, darling.
Sit down, everyone. I have an announcement to make. half-a-century mark, he begins to think, where have I been? Where am I going? What do I want to do with the rest of my life?
You rang Mr. Worthington?
Yes, Edith, tell the other servants I want to see them in here now.
Yes, sir.
As I was saying, what do I plan to do with the rest of my life? I intend to make some important changes. That's for one thing.
Changes? What kinds of changes?
That's precisely what I brought you all in here to discuss.
Edith informed us she was to see us, Mr. Worthington.
Yes, Hollister, I wanted all my family, closest business associates, and servants present. Will I make an announcement? Everyone in this room depends on me to provide them with a living. And thus far, I've provided you all quite well. You would think my generosity would gain me your appreciation, if not affection. But apparently, what someone in here feels is resentment, perhaps even hatred. It has come to my attention that one amongst you is a traitor.
You suspect one of us to be your enemy?
I don't suspect. I know. And I approve. Lauren. I had Lauren bring me this. Inside is the evidence of a traitor's duplicity. I promise you, before the evening is over, this person will pay dearly.
Edward, if you're planning to punish one of us in some way, why not just do it now and get it over with?
I was wondering the same thing, Mr. Worthington. If you don't mind my saying so.
I intend to let this worm squirm a while before squashing it. I see you brought me some gifts. After dinner, I'll open them, concluding with this, my birthday present to myself. But for now, let the festivities begin. What are we having for dinner, Ina?
Your favorite, sir. Roast beef, gravy, and whipped potatoes.
I can hardly wait. Sounds like a dinner to die for. As I'm sure you guessed, that was the blackout to show the end of Act 1, Scene 1. In my mysteries, that's the scene where I usually introduce you to characters along with their relationships to one another. This is called exposition. Since they and I told you something about them before the show began, it was just a bit shorter than normal. Now, let's get into Scene 2, about 2 hours later. This is the scene where the plot thickens. Make that the plot like gravy thickens. I'm sorry, I just had to get the full title in there. Act 1, Scene 2.
Edward, darling, what you doing in here all by your lonesome? Nearly everybody's in the parlor playing games till you're ready to open the gifts and make your announcement. Well, I've gone through the motions. Nobody's really interested in Monopoly or Clue.
I know a better game. How about you and I go play one of our own in private?
We can't do that, sugar. Not here. You know that.
I don't like being told no, Piggy Sue. You know that.
Now, don't lose your temper with me, sweet pea. Besides, for all I know, I might be the one you're playing under fire. Or whatever.
What? Have you been up to no good, Piggy Sue?
Of course not. I would never do anything to hurt you, honey lamb. You know that, but somebody could have told you I had been. Allegra, for instance. She hates me, you know. I just hate it when somebody hates me.
Allegra has never said a word against you.
If she hasn't, it's because she's afraid to. I'm sure she suspects I'm more to you than an employee, but she doesn't dare confront you about it because she knows if she forced you to choose between us, you'd toss her aside like a used Kleenex.
You think so?
Well, sure. You told me you made her sign one of those prenuptial agreements before you married her, right? Like the one Justine had to?
Of course. I'm too smart to let some fortune hunter take me for millions.
But before you divorce him, your wives get to live like queens. Allegra has been ridden the merry-go-round long enough. It's somebody else's turn. Why, who knows? You might have finally found a woman who you want to live with for the rest of your life.
We'll see, Peggy Sue. After tonight, there could be quite a few changes around here.
Fine. If you'll excuse me, I need to slip into one of the upstairs bathrooms. Freshen up. Don't you go and reveal your big announcement till I get back. I don't suppose you'd give me a hint as to who it is you plan to reprimand, would you?
I can't do that, Peggy Sue.
Even if I pout?
Even if you pout.
Well then, I won't waste the pucker to make little lines around your mouth anyway. I'll be back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail.
Here you are, Edward.
Were you looking for me, Beatrice?
Yes,
What is it?
I listened to what you said to all of us earlier, but I'm confused.
I expected that.
Those papers you have in your pocket, I'm afraid they're papers to, what do you call them? To put me in a home.
Commitment papers.
Yes, that's it. You're not going to send me away, would you, little Baba? This is my home. I've lived here my entire life. Both of us have. I don't want to go anywhere else.
I hate to banish you, Beatrice, but if you've done something really bad and need to be punished,
I wouldn't. I haven't.
we'll see. Do you know a Mr. Jameson, Beatrice?
Jameson? No, I don't think so.
Paul Jameson.
Jameson. Paul Jameson. Oh, I know where I've heard that name. Just the other day, when I walked into the library, your lawyer, Miss Tate, was on the phone. And when she saw me, she said, I'll get back to you, Jameson.
That's very interesting.
Yes, Mr. Worthington?
Hollister, my sister is tired. I thought you might have Ina brew her a cup of tea to refresh her.
I'll be glad to. Miss Beatrice, why don't you come with me?
With you? Of course, Hollister. Where are we going?
To the kitchen. We're going to have some tea,
A tea party?
if you'd like.
Oh, I would.
Is that a new perfume you're wearing, Miss Beatrice? It's very nice.
Yes, it's called Primrose.
Primrose.
It won't take but a few minutes.
All right, if you insist. Drat the embers of the fire burn out. Why did you pull me away from the table? I am Boardwalk and Park Place, while I'm here I'll lose a fortune in rent.
For Pete's sake, Lauren, it's just a game.
One that you're losing. I hope you manage Edward's financial affairs better than you do at Monopoly. So, what did you want to see me about?
Those papers Edward had you bring tonight, what are they?
Gracious, Roy, you know I can't answer such a question. How long do you think Edward would retain me as his lawyer if I went around revealing privileged information?
It's just, look, I may have transferred a fairly sizable sum of Edward's funds into an account in my name.
Why would you do that?
Well, there's a major television station going on the market. Edward has been interested in it for a very long time, and if the sellers knew he was interested, they'd double their asking price. So I plan to make them an offer in my name, and if they accept, I'll make the purchase, then revert the property back to Worthington Enterprises.
I see.
Yes, now that I've explained it, but if Edward just sees that I transferred the money and he doesn't know why I did it,
Say no more. Want some free advice? If I were you, I'd keep that get out of jail free card you drew.
This is no joking matter.
You're right. Why tell me? Why not tell Edward?
Well, if I'm not the one he suspects of betraying him, there's no point worrying him with it. He's never cared how I've invested my money before now anyway.
And why draw his attention to it if you don't have to? Right?
Well, yes. So if you could just tell me if those papers relate to me.
I don't know.
What?
I said, I don't know what's in that envelope. Edward asked me to go by his office, look in the desk drawer, and take out a blank envelope with a wax seal and bring it to him upon my arrival. So, that's what I did.
I assume you knew.
As did everyone else. I suspect Edward could have brought it home himself. He had me do it, though, to stir everybody up. The fact is, I am as much as in the dark as you are about its contents.
So, they can relate to you as well as anyone else.
Me? I have nothing to feel guilty about. My conscience is clear.
Is it really?
Roy! The game is over. Justine won. I would have, but I hid my money and I forgot where I put it. Oh, here it is. Silly me. I must have deposited it in my bra. Now I'm flat busted. My goodness, you're a pair of gloomy gusses. What's the matter?
Nothing. I'm going for a breath of fresh air.
But Roy, it's going to storm. Oh dear. I wish he wouldn't go outside while it's lightning. He could be struck dead as a doornail. Whatever that is.
Agatha, he figures that the wrath of Mother Nature is nothing compared to Edward's.
Huh?
Lauren, we ruled for you and Roy. I took all your money. You went bankrupt.
So I heard.
I believe this belongs to me as well. The way I see it, get it while you can. Edward taught me that.
Don't, Mom.
Don't worry, dear. I'll hold my temper, at least until your father makes his announcement. After that, anything goes.
I hate suspense. I love murder mysteries, but I always read the last chapter first to find out who did it.
If you feel a rumble, it's Agatha Christie spinning in her grave. Calm down, Aggie.
Murders make me nervous, and when I get nervous, I break out in hives. It's just awful.
I'm sure it is. It's a good thing calamine lotion is so cheap. So, Lauren, how about telling us what's in that envelope Edward is carrying around near where his heart would be, if you had one? I'll make it worth your while.
Roy was wondering the same thing earlier. As I told him, I don't know.
You don't? I thought it might be. Never mind.
Why should you be concerned, Deborah?
Well, Father arranged for the college to send him a copy of my grade each semester. Not that he cares about me. He's more interested in how his money's being spent. I've had some problems lately, and, well, I haven't done so hot in most of my classes.
And you're worried that Edward might cut off your tuition.
Yes.
If he tries it, I'll cut off his head.
Oh my goodness.
We don't know what he's planning until he reveals it to us. Until when the contents of that envelope will remain a mystery.
I am back, Eddie honey, fresh as a daisy. Oh! I thought Edward was in here. Have y'all seen him?
Not lately, which is how I like it.
Ever since his announcement, he's been lying low.
Not low enough. I prefer 6 feet under.
Mom, you don't mean that.
Don't I?
He was in here a little while ago, but the French doors are open. I wonder if he went outside.
No, Roy did. I'd better find him before it starts to rain and he gets soaked. I don't think they make dry tuxedos, do they? Excuse me. So, you've made yourself fresh as a daisy and are looking for Eddie, honey? Just how
personal of a secretary are you, Peggy Sue?
I don't have the foggiest notion as to what you mean.
I think you do. It seems to me you're setting yourself up to be the third Mrs. Worthington the third.
What Edward and I do is none of your business.
Maybe, and maybe not. If Eddie Honey divorces Allegra and marries you, he might decide that 2 ex-wives are more than he wants to support. I was going to ask Lauren here if that mysterious envelope contains a prenuptial agreement for you to sign, but she says she doesn't know what's in it.
You don't?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Prenuptial agreement? I hadn't thought it could be that. Oh, golly, I hope so! I'm gonna find him and make him open his gifts right now!
I guess I just made her day.
Darn. It just occurred to me that Peggy Sue could be my next stepmother.
Look on the bright side, Deborah. If you move back home, Peggy Sue could cook you grits for breakfast.
I'd rather eat gravel, and I'd rather die than live under this roof with Father again.
Excuse me. Miss Vickers has a set of coffee in the parlor if any of you want some.
Sounds good. Ladies?
I'd like a cup. Why not? I might need the caffeine if I get into a fight before this shindig is over. Mom, just kidding, dear. Maybe.
I was wondering when I'd catch you alone.
Mr. Blackwell.
It's Tony.
Miss Vickers says
Don't mind what that old dragon told you. She's not around. You look worried, Edwina. What's the matter?
it's Miss Beatrice.
Don't you mean Miss Looney Tunes?
Don't say that. She just gets a little confused sometimes.
Sorry, I meant that in the nicest way possible. Please, tell me about it.
Miss Beatrice's behavior has been very odd
Lately?
more than usual. She's started taking things around the house.
Things? What kinds of things?
Mostly decorative items like a crystal ashtray, a Fabergé egg.
Wait, Fabergé? We're not talking cheap trinkets here, are
I
we?
know. Some of the objects are very valuable.
So, what does she do with them then? Sell them?
Oh no, she hides them to take out and look at later, except she tends to forget where she puts them. We, the servants, are always finding things stuck in the strangest places. We put them back out.
So, what are you worried about then?
We're worried Mr. Worthington might have noticed that a few expensive items have been missing, and might think one of us on the staff is stealing them. Those papers he had the lawyer bring tonight, they could be our dismissal papers. Mine, Ina, Hollister's, Miss Vickers.
You can just tell them that you're all innocent, that his sister just has sticky fingers.
No! He'd have her put away. Don't you see? We all care for Miss Beatrice a great deal. And if we weren't here to protect her.
Don't cry, Edwina. I hate to see a woman cry. When I do, I want to take her in my arms like this, and kiss her tears away like this.
You mustn't. I mustn't.
There's a strong attraction between us, Edwina. You feel it too. There's no need to fight it.
I can't. I dismiss.
Edward doesn't have to know, and what he doesn't know won't hurt us.
Oh, Tony.
Everything will be fine and sweet. Just trust me.
Edwina!
Miss Vickers!
That legend there is soaking up the coffee like camels at a watering hole. Let me know the pots. Tell Ina, please.
Yes, ma'am.
If you have an urge for something sweet, Mr. Blackwell, we'll be serving birthday cake shortly.
I beg your pardon.
Oh, you know exactly what I mean. Edwina's a nice girl, and so is Eden. And I intend to see that they stay that way.
Is that a threat?
Take it any way you like. If I see you near any of the girls again, I'll tell Mr. Whittington what you're up to. It won't take much to have him throw you out by your ear.
Why you...
Save your breath, you two-bit gigolo! Those girls are off limits. You've been warned.
That works!
I trust you're not referring to me, brother dear.
No, it was that housekeeper, Mrs. Vickers.
Did she catch you trying to raid the pantry?
No. I was just talking to the maid.
Uh-huh. I thought I told you to stay away from them. Mrs. Mrs. Vickers is very protective towards those girls.
Yeah, so I found out.
Forget about the girls. We've got bigger worries.
Such as?
That document, or whatever it is Edward is carrying around,
Yeah, what about
it could be our eviction notice.
eviction? What do you mean?
I mean, they could be divorce papers. If I left out the cold, you would be too, Tony. We'd both be penniless.
Divorce? Are things that bad between you?
Edward has grown tired of me, and I suspect he's already picked my replacement. At first, I thought he was simply having a mild flirtation with that Dixie cream donut, Peggy Sue. But now I'm not so sure.
Peggy Sue, she's a knockout. But you're more sophisticated than she is, more, what's the word, glamorous than she is.
20 years older than she is. That hominy-fed hussy has one thing I don't, Tony. Youth. And that's one thing Edward's money can't buy me.
Edward's money? It should be your money too. He hadn't maybe signed that agreement.
But he did. I'm afraid the only way Edward's fortune could possibly become mine is if he were to drop dead before he divorced me.
Yeah, well, there's not much chance of that. Edward is as healthy as a horse.
Well, even horses have accidents.
Allegra, what are you suggesting?
Nothing, Tony. Nothing at all.
Excuse me, Mrs. Worthington, Mr. Blackwell.
Yes, Hollister? What is it?
Anna is planning on gathering everyone in here, where Mr. Worthington can cut the cake and open his gifts.
Very good, Hollister. Where is Edward?
I don't know, madame. I haven't seen him since dinner.
Yeah, neither have we.
I'll look for him upstairs. Tony, why don't you gather the others in here?
Alrighty.
Hollister, make sure everything is prepared. We'll be right back.
As you wish, madame.
Oh, also, you better have a towel handy, because by the end of this, someone will be sent home crying.
I'll keep that in mind, sir. If there's any justice, it will be you.
Set the cake on the table, Ina. That cake looks beautiful, Ina.
It's too good for the likes of Mr. Worthington, but thank you, Edith.
Watch what you say, Ina. You never know who may be listening.
If someone says this to that cold-hearted monster, let him. I quit long ago from Miss Beatrice.
We all would have, but we must hold our tongues for her sake.
She'd be lost without us.
Yes. I know, but he makes me so mad sometimes. At dinner, he had the nerve to say my whipped potatoes tasted a little odd.
Oh, he did compliment the gravy, though.
Said it was nice and thick. He knew he had me angry. He was just trying to get on my good side. One of these days, I'll carve him up along with the roast beef.
Oh, Ina!
That's quite enough. Mr. Worthington left instructions that champagne is to be served with the cake. Ina, girls, come with me.
All right, everything seems to be in order in here. I must go check the downstairs bathroom for fresh hand towels.
Well, well, well. Seems my little letter has created quite the stir. Seems everyone under this roof has a lot to answer for. And they will, before the night is over.
We just made it. I told you the rain wouldn't hold off much longer. Oh, Edward. Roy went out for some fresh air. I had to find him.
And you did? Will miracles never cease?
Oh, you're teasing. It wasn't easy, though. You have such a large estate.
Which, fortunately, I can afford. Can't I, Roy? I mean, my investments are sound, aren't they?
Of course, Edward. Why do you ask?
Oh, no reason. I haven't gone over the books in quite some time. We should go over them, say, next week.
I can schedule some time Friday evening.
Monday 9 o'clock sharp.
Whatever you say. Raining cats have
It's
died.
party time. Be seated, everyone.
Oh, my goodness, Edward. I thought you had disappeared into thin air. Where on earth have you been?
Here and there. Have a seat, Peggy Sue.
Don't mind if I do, sugar.
Place them on the tables.
Staff, remain with us, please. I wouldn't dream of leaving my servants out of the festivities.
Yes, Mr. Worthington.
And last to arrive, but not least, is my dear loving wife, Allegra. Come in, have a seat. The moment you've all been anxiously awaiting has arrived. Now, what should I do first? Cut the cake or open the gifts? The gifts. Are you sure? The cake sure does look delicious. You've outdone yourself, I know.
Glad you liked it.
I'm not sure I can resist it till later. Ina did work hard to make it in my honor. What kind of cake is it, Ina?
Devil's food.
I'm frightened.
I suspect you're not the only one.
For goodness sake, stop toying with us. You know no one cares about the cake or the champagne or that stupid gifts. Tell us what's in the envelope.
So, you'd prefer cutting to the chase to cutting the cake? Do you, my dear? Very well. What a harmless looking piece of paper it is. But what a commotion it has caused.
Of course it has, Edward. You're holding someone's fate in your hand. More than one person, possibly.
How right you are, daughter. How right you are.
Just tell us whose, Edward.
We're all dying to know what's in the envelope.
Get on with it.
Please.
If you insist, I'll let you do the honors, my dear. Open it.
Dear blank.
What?
Is this your idea of a joke?
Not at all. Sit down. I've known for some time that some, if not all of you, have been keeping secrets from me. Perhaps even plotting and scheming to do me harm. The hostility in this room is so thick, I could cut it with that knife. I thought it was just time to get it all out in the open. And so I did. How did I do it? With a little party game I devised. Let's call it the envelope game. By making you think there were papers inside that could expose your deceitful natures, you each projected your worst fears upon it, and discussed them amongst yourselves. All I had to do was sit back and listen. They all came tumbling out, your little secrets, and I heard them. Roy's private investments, using my money, Tony's philandering, Deborah's failing grades, Justine's bureau cut off her support, Beatrice's kleptomania, which my faithful servants have helped to cover up. I even learned, inadvertently, thanks to a comment Beatrice made, the main secret I set out to discover. Namely, the one who's been quietly selling my information to a Paul Jameson. That's the man who's announced he'd be writing one of those malicious tell-all biographies about me. I believe the Bar Association would frown upon such unethical behavior. Lauren.
I would never.
Sit down. I'll deal with you later. To conclude the litany of your offenses, there's my dear, loving wife, Allegra, who told her brother she would like to see me dead.
I didn't. You misunderstood me, Edward.
Oh, I understood perfectly. Sit down. Seems the only one amongst you I can trust is Peggy Sue, my future wife.
Oh, Edward!
Another one?
She's married me for my love, but at least she's honest about it.
Not for the money, honey bunny. I love you
two and I are leaving. I've arranged a cozy little stay at an inn. When I return, I expect each and every single one of you to be out of this house. Soon, you'll all be out of my life. Forever!
The lights! Oh dear! It must be the star.
Ow! Blood!
Sorry about that.
Everyone, please remain calm. There's a generator for just such an occurrence. She can come on any moment now. There, you see?
I do now.
He's dead.
Freeze! Ooh, wasn't that exciting? There are corn syrup and red food coloring. We have a sugar rush like you wouldn't believe. Now, as I'm sure you've noticed, that was the end of Act 1. At any rate, it's time for intermission. I'll see you all in 20 minutes.